I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone at home.
King is tardy, but I'll open the gate for him.
Good. Before we start our meeting, we have a gentleman here who June is going to introduce because he is going to work with June on the Towns Committee for disaster preparedness. June?
Okay. Mr. Kurt Hahn will be speaking to you shortly. He is the Disaster Preparedness Coordinator for both the Village of Cornwall on Hudson and the Town of Cornwall. His credentials are excellent, and he has agreed to help us. Kurt, would you like to give us a little... You're on TV, so you're talking to the community.
You're on TV. This microphone doesn't speak to the people here. It speaks to the people at home.
Thank you for having me this evening. Again, I'm Kurt Hahn. Happy to help you guys out with your emergency preparedness program. We've identified a good framework to get you on the right track to having a solid program, and look forward to working with you through the conclusion of the contract.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Not yet. Question. So how long have you been doing emergency preparedness?
My background, I'm a volunteer firefighter for over 25 years, a career firefighter for over 13 years. I've been emergency management director in Cornwall and Cornwall-Hudson since September 11th, 2006, so over 13 years. I've got numerous specialist level skill sets. I've graduated from the Emergency Management Institute in Emmitsburg, Maryland. So I've got quite a few credentials. Be happy to share a CV or resume with you if that be of your interest.
Oh, well, for some reason, I believe you. Sounds believable. Okay, thank you for sharing that with me.
Thank you.
Now, Kurt hasn't, and you correct me if I'm wrong on this, Kurt hasn't asked us for payment. However, we have offered payment. We've offered $1,500, which we are going to pay him a stipend of $500 every couple of months or so as he works along with us. That money is already in our budget for disaster preparedness for the person that's in charge. So it's not as if we're taking money from somewhere that it isn't. It's what we're going to do with Kurt.
Great. And along that pathway, I've outlined the deliverables for the project, and I've also invited several members of the committee to a project management platform so they'll be able to track that progress in real time and collaborate, because it's a two-way street. Going to need a lot of information from you guys in order to have a good product. And again, I look forward to working with everyone.
Great. Thank you.
One of the things he brought up at our meeting, which I thought was interesting, and I've mentioned it to a few people, and they said something to the effect they never thought of it, is the ham radio operators. If the poop hits the fan and everything is out, including our cell phones, which are out most of the time anyway, there's an organization of ham radio operators that can be put into action that you're aware of.
Exactly. I mean, we're no stranger to disasters, and I mean, you just have to look at recent events. The hurricanes. Even go back to the blackout of '03. People are going to use their devices and they don't work, but ham radio always works. They're a resilient group of people and happy to always help in times of blue skies and also disasters. So it's great to establish those relationships ahead of time.
And Kurt, do you have anything to ask the board while you're here?
Just going to need information. That's it. So I look forward to making sure that we have accurate contact information, and I ask that if I give you a request to kindly try to reply within a week. I think that's not too much to ask, and I really look forward to working with you guys.
When we met
We'll
with
be
Kurt,
coordinating with our emergency services, our highway department, our police department, as well as speaking to you people, to coordinate all this and update our plan, our emergency management plan. So we look forward to working with you, and thank you for agreeing to help us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming down.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Have a great evening.
Good night.
I think everyone has an agenda. At this time, if you'd like to make some public comment on the agenda items, please feel welcome to do so. Deborah?
Hey, Bob, I just had a question on 9, let's call it D for lack of a better word. We need permission for supervisor to sign authorization for energy services LED lighting program to proceed with NIPA. Is there a separate contract from the one that I got several weeks ago?
Yes.
I foiled that this week.
Okay, well, we haven't signed it, and so therefore it wasn't available for a FOIL.
Right, but I guess the point was, and I did put this point in my FOIL as to reasoning, was that as per in the past, it's more transparent to have people look over the contract and be able to meaningfully comment on it before bringing it in. And in fact, what I was told in the letter that I received from the town was that you didn't have any such document at all. And I foiled unsigned or signed.
Not trying to hide anything from you or anyone else, there was a bit of confusion this week over that particular contract, if you will. I was under the impression that 37-page contract was it, and they were going to follow through with that and set up a meeting with us and set up the plans for putting in the lighting in. Then I find out that, no, you have to sign this little 2-page document, which virtually is 1 page, giving them permission to go out and start putting together the cost, the meetings, the sitting down with us and what have you, giving them permission to do that. Now, once we give them permission to do that, then that's an expense that they'll recover through savings in the electric lights and the street lights. Or if we decide we're not doing anything, even though you've done all the work, then we're responsible for paying them for the work that they did.
So just so I understand, because I'm a little confused, the 2-pager is not, the first contract that was 37 pages was kind of like a pre-contract. It wasn't a contract for any specific lights. It was, these are kind of the rules of the road. That was... Exactly,
yes.
Right. And so the 2-pager that you're talking about now is, if I'm, just so I understand, similarly not a contract for a specific set of lights for the specific town. It's another kind of put together a proposal?
Yes,
contract?
exactly.
Okay. How much?
And that contract, I'll send you a copy as soon as we approve it, and the potential of, as to what we're going to do, I'll see that you get a copy of that too.
All right, but that would be a separate third contract?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is not an actual commitment to one of the quote-unquote NIPA lights or any specific contract?
And Justin, am I explaining all this right?
Yes, Supervisor, you are,
you
and
can
yes,
say
Deborah.
no.
No, you were. You've been very good. It surprised us that they needed this additional sort of authorization to scope the project, and that's all this is.
All right,
So no, it will ultimately have a contract specific to the terms. We haven't seen that yet.
Okay, and you got this document subsequent to my FOIL request and being told you didn't have anything, or?
I don't know when exactly the document came in. There was various communications because, again, we indicated to NIPA that we had signed, and they said, no, there's this other piece of paper. They think they sent it to us a long time ago. I don't ever recall seeing it.
It's dated April the 5th.
But, and it's, use of the term contract is grossly misleading. We're just telling them to scope out the project.
All right, and then just from a procedural aspect, since I already FOIL'd you, can you provide that to me, or do you need me to execute it?
Right, I'm not the FOIL officer for the town, but I would assume that if your FOIL was comprehensive, we should be able to send it to you.
All right, and my only other question is setting the public hearing for the noise ordinance. When you get to that agenda, is there a specific day you're doing it, or are you going to ask people what day is good for you, kind of things?
No, it is a date, October the 4th?
It's October 14th.
14th.
It's the first October meeting date for the town. It's the second Monday of October.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock.
7 p.m., yes.
All right, so my only comment, of course, is pro forma and consistent with what I've said before, which is that I oppose signing of further contracts with NIPA absent complete due diligence on this issue.
Anyone else? Public comment? Yes. Brian? Please identify yourself.
Good evening. My name is Brian Sakanik. I'm a local homeowner, developer, and I own several properties in the town. Just want to comment in regards to the noise ordinance. I'm not saying there shouldn't be some variable or some kind of ordinance for certain times. We have to be very, very careful with this. We could decimate our local economy and destroy housing values. If we're not able to renovate or knock down and rebuild dilapidated homes or buildings, because it's an 8-hour workday, and 8 hours is really 10 hours. Guys got to set up, they got to get ready, and there's an awful lot of noise when there's certain amounts of construction. I know that. I just want to make sure that people don't forget. Everybody who owns a home in this town, at one time or another, you disturbed a bunch of people when you built your house. And that's going to happen now, and it's going to happen 500 years from now. But if we lock ourselves, if we're short-sighted and lock ourselves into too small of a window where it's not economical to pay the guy for a day wages and he can't work for the full day, you can't afford to build, you can't afford to renovate. And our housing eventually will all become dilapidated because you can't afford to do it, and people will just try to get out of the area. So it's really crucial that we look at the hours of work, look at other towns, look what they do. Because I believe right now there is no ordinance.
There is not.
Okay, so
And
there should be something.
The proposed ordinance will be available to the general public in about 7 days.
No later than October 4th, right? Again, public hearing October 14th, so no later than, well, I guess, lose track of dates, 5th is Friday is the 4th. Yep, so no later than Friday, October 4th, it'll be in the town clerk's office.
Because
it
we-
could be a little sooner than that, but
Okay.
public will have at least 10 days.
Because we have some really nice projects coming up in the very, very near future. You know, the new church where Nicole's was, Dunkin' Donuts is getting ready to break ground any day, and these projects, and we don't want to get a word out there that, hey, you can't build during, builders' hours. So we should definitely solicit from contractors and builders, what hours they work, so we, and we have to keep the people in mind also, and other towns have these ordinances, and something to even think of to generate revenue for the town. If, and this happens a lot during construction, you need to go after hours. And in the city where we do work, you get after-hour permits, and you pay for that. And that generates revenue for the town. So that way you kind of limit people just recklessly working, late hours or Sundays or something like that. You could pay for it. And it notifies the people in the area what's happening, what the work is. But just want to make sure we just do very careful consideration, because everybody who owns a home here, you disturbed your neighbors when you built it. And it's just the process of construction. It's always going to happen.
Justin put together a very comprehensive ordinance.
Okay,
So
great.
it's not just a little short, about 3 pages, 4 pages.
So it's a balanced ordinance that takes a lot of factors into consideration, but obviously, it will be available to the public for their review, and that's why in this process, there's always a public hearing for all people to come out and talk and give their opinions, and often, right, the board in the past has heard those commentaries, and depending on what the language is in the ordinance, sometimes has changed language drafted based on what the people are consistently saying to them. Sometimes there's a second public hearing if there's enough changes requested, but I think this is a balanced ordinance. I'm waiting for commentary and feedback from the board, and then it'll be available to the public.
I just want to say, first of all, thank you for coming in. Your perspective is noted, and obviously you understand that there's many sides to this, and this board, without a doubt, is going to be diligent at researching and then making a good decision. So yeah, be confident in that right there. So the people at home should know that.
And then just the last thing, you can speak to whoever does your engineering for town review stuff. This area is very unique. It's got so much granite. And unfortunately, every time you're doing a new development, you have to chop. And that, it is just so disturbing. I mean, I hear it all the time when I'm home here and people chopping. They're chopping at the high school all day long. Chop, 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 chop. But that's just the nature of the beast of where we live, is that it's heavy rock and there's a lot of chopping. So it's just something that we are unique to other communities with that. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brian.
You're
Dave?
supposed to give my name? Dave Tonneson, and I'm an admitted noisemaker. I've been making noise in the town of Highlands since 1970. In 1970, my brother and I built Tonneson's Body Shop and made noise. In that interim, up until today, the noise that we've made has resulted in over $16 million worth of assessed valuation in the town of Highlands. It came with some inconvenience to some people, even some inconvenience to me. But the end result has always been beneficial to the community. The thing you have to be careful with, Brian is absolutely right. And for a while, the town of Highlands had a reputation amongst engineers and developers as not being very friendly toward development. We need some development, we need some more assessed valuation, and there will be some inconvenience to get it. The other thing you have to be careful of is some unintended consequences when you pass something. You have to remember that if you're going to regulate developers and anybody that gets a building permit, how about the guy that works 6 days a week and rents a little machine on Sunday to improve his property and work on his yard? Bingo, he's in violation. So you have to be very careful what you put in so you don't impede people from improving their property or maintaining their property. And it could easily be done. I've had the town of Highlands, the building department, in past years where neighbors had an adversary relationship with me and tried to use the town to get back at me. That can happen with this ordinance that you're proposing. One neighbor doesn't like another. We have a lot of people that use chainsaws and split wood on weekends to heat their homes. If a neighbor doesn't like his neighbor, he can file a complaint. So you have to be careful. Whatever's in there is not going to have unintended consequences. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tonneson.
Anyone else over here?
Some of you may or may not know me, Tony Scicciarini. Long before I was highway superintendent, I started my own construction company. We live in a unique state. The taxes are pretty high. A lot of people hire small contractors, such as myself and other people, to do work for them. We usually work a little bit cheaper than bigger companies because we have full-time jobs and it's our part-time job, and we have lower overhead, which necessitates Saturdays and the occasional Sunday. So again, to mimic what's already been said, I think it's a very slippery slope once you start down. Is it next leaf blowers? I mean, there's noise is noise. Life makes noise. I've been a contractor in this town since 1987, 86. I've never had the police called on me. I've worked all hours of the day and night, whether it was an emergency or just an unintended thing that happened. I'm not so sure if we've had a big rush of complaints in the last few years. I'm not saying no law is warranted, but I would like to hope that you do due diligence and think about all of the consequences before we pass a law. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Is there anyone, Deborah, you've already spoken.
Well, I was going to wait to make my remarks at the invoice hearing, but in as much as Justin has explained that you guys are going to look at it first and get your comments back to him before the copy is made available to the town, and some other people have made some comments, I'd just like to make a few brief comments.
It's just a copy of the proposed ordinance, whether we look at it first or it comes out later. The copy is proposed for the public hearing. Public hearing has a purpose.
Right.
It's a purpose for you people to come in and say, I don't like this, or you need to change this, and then we go back to the drawing board or not.
Well, I understand that, but presumably since it's not going to be made available until the 4th, and you're going to have an opportunity to weigh back with Justin and say, hey, tweak this or tweak that for the draft.
The town board will, yes.
Right, and in as much as there have been some other comments made, I would just like to respond to those comments, since you will then be taking that input.
I'm sorry, but that's not the purpose of a public hearing, for you to respond to the other people's comments. So I'm not going to have you speak right now.
This isn't a public hearing, this is public comment.
Public comment, same difference.
Right, but
Is there
unfortunately-
anyone else that would like to speak? Thank you. Chief, do we have a decimal meter at the police station? We do. We do? Okay, good. That solves that one problem. The minutes of the September 9th meeting. Somebody want to approve it?
Make a motion.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, we paid out $62,178 on September the 13th. The larger expenses were $2,059 for sanitation diesel fuel, $31,900 to municipal workers' compensation insurance. O&R got $3,037 for multiple departments, not including streetlights. And our legal advisor got $6,629. You have a separate page. The board does. Unfortunately, the general public doesn't, but it's only some budget transfers. So I'll go through them all, and at the end, we can, even though Justin doesn't like doing that, at the end, we
I'm
we
okay.
can
You
approve
note-
them all.
If you note whatever concerns you have, that's fine.
Okay. From Long Pond Personal Services to contractual $1,500. That was for open gym usage that was previously approved by the board. That went, I think, to the church, Kelly?
Yes.
Record management contractual to record management training, $50. Training was over budget. Contingent account to town hall contractual, $8,000 for the sewer spill in the basement and the cleanup. Supervisor's equipment to treasurer's, other expenses, $300 for mileage to the bank. Officials liability insurance, parks improvements, $600 for Brooks's Park repairs. Summer youth programs contractual to summer youth programs personal services, $80 to cover the last payroll. Long Pond personal services to summer youth program contractual, $500, Long Pond usage for summer rec. And Kelly, that was $500 they wanted, we had to pay them
We
to
had
bring
to pay for
the rec
ours.
program out.
Yes,
Yeah.
for them to use Long Pond over the summer.
Police supplies to police vehicle maintenance, $1,000. Vehicle repairs were higher than budgeted. Sewer utilities to sewer contractual, $2,000 for TAM, probably at a pump station. Planning fees, revenue, planning legal fees, $2,000 to cover higher than budgeted legal fees. I'll ask for a motion to approve all of the budget transfers.
Motion.
Second.
Is there any question on any of the budgets? No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Board liaison reports, starting with Councilman Sullivan.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. So I had the pleasure of meeting with Kurt Hahn, who everybody just met. He's very well checked out for that purpose, and it's something that we need, and I think he's going to deliver it by about the first of the year is a timeline that he gave us for somebody to hit the ground running who takes that position. Zoning Board of Appeals, I attended their meeting last Wednesday. They meet on the third Wednesday of every month. It's open to the public. They acted on 2 applications. There'll be public hearings on each of them on October 16th. One of those is the Forming Nichols building. Rather than looking on social media, if you want to know what's going on in your town, go to one of those meetings. Last Thursday, I attended a meeting with our comptroller, with Michelle Reese, did I say her name right, Kelly? From M&R Resources Corporation. Last year, we acted to get, there's delivery and there's supplier when it comes to electricity. O&R delivers it through their wires, but our supplier is currently, help me, who?
Our supplier is Direct Energy, and we got them through a contract with Consumer Energy Solutions.
Okay, so she represents M&R Resources Corporation and wanted an opportunity to again bid. Well, I guess we're locked in until the end of the year.
Correct.
Which we gave her the opportunity to throw us a number, and if it's not a good one, then we're not gonna act on that. So, had the pleasure of doing that. And after that, last Thursday, I went to the senior center where there was a meeting. The village invited me, a meeting by the LA group for revitalization of the waterfront, including the Old Marina and Highland Falls. On Friday the 13th, with Olga, I attended here a meeting of the Environmental Advisory Council. We had two speakers, Jeff Demonsky of the Community Choice Aggregate and Carolyn Cassetta of Energize New York. June Gunza was here, June Patterson was here, Cindy Modlin, most of the committee. Dr. Sheboy was here, and I want to wish him luck. It's the annual, semi-annual school NAPIS conference. They'll be going to Capitol Hill tomorrow to try and get money for impact aid, so I wish them luck on that. Jeff spoke about how, what I was just talking about, delivery and supply differ, and there's different green resources you can go to if you want to. And Carolyn spoke about energy efficient homes, mostly a project in Warwick, New York, and maybe Olga will enlighten us on that later on. In the building department, Phil is working out well, and I believe as per the county parameters, he is prepared to be moved to full-time if we want to. Okay, so I think he's prepared for that. Sewer, Bob held, I left him a note that a year ago I talked about everybody getting confined space training. That resource has been made available, hasn't happened yet. So Pat Patterson is setting it up where everybody from that department and the highway department does it together for one day rather than having multiple training. That'll happen in the next 3 weeks. In the water district, and I'll let you touch on this, Bob, I understand that, did we get a grant to try and look for some leaks, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
Okay, I'll let you, in your report, talk about that.
That just came through, so I'm not going to talk about
Okay,
it. I'm
okay.
not 100% sure
Okay.
exactly what it means.
Okay, and last Monday, everybody here, just about the two Junes and supervisor's wife and Ty, we went out to see Don Smith and Arla James receive their awards from Colin Schmidt for first responders. And that's it.
Thank you, sir. Councilman King?
Yes, good evening, everyone, and good evening, everyone at home. Just a few things for me. We had a senior citizen trip last week on the 18th up to Catskill Resorts. Feedback that I have received is that it was a good trip. They enjoyed it, and so they continue to do a good job down there at the center putting these trips together. Also coming up on the 26th, which is this Thursday, you have a health information fair. And this is going to take place at the Senior Center from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's 15 Drew Avenue. And there's a free continental breakfast along with this, so for those that are interested. And the last thing, since I see reps from the ambulance corps, that I'm going to be spending a little bit more time to get to know the folks down at the ambulance corps. I got a great briefing on their budget, and so it interests me to go back down and spend some more time.
Good.
That's all I have.
Deputy Supervisor Gunza? How about that?
Yeah, I do. Just the Patriot Garden, or the 911 Garden, held their services on 9/11, and it was very well done, and it was very well attended, and thank the group that put it together. And yes, I did attend Olga's, with the two speakers, which was very informative. And with the board, I also went out to the service award that Colin Schmidt did for Arla and Don, and that was very well presented too. And with Kurt Hahn, when we get to it, we need to make a motion to employ him as a consultant so he can see Kelly and fill out the appropriate paperwork. The planning board had a meeting on the 19th, which was lengthy, but They had a lot to cover. And I'm looking forward to the 30th when we all sit down with the budget.
And Councilman,
No report at this time.
no report, okay.
Gone.
Kelly, you've managed to put together our tentative budget, and the town board received a copy today, so we're all ready to go into the budget season and try our damnedest to keep it under the tax cap, which, again, will be difficult, but we'll have to see what happens. Do you have anything to say at all, or?
As always, you know, the department heads, they really, they put their all into their budgets. They work hard to keep them down as low as they can and still have the resources they need to function properly. So, you know, I have to say thank you to all the department heads for their fine work, as always.
Chief? I noticed this evening activity on 9W, quite a bit of activity on 9W. But you know, when we talk about stops on 9W or whatever have you, we have people speeding. I mean, we're not stopping people for no reason at all, and we're not stopping them for doing 45 and a 40, but I think last time you said you had somebody 78 miles an hour went through?
Pretty high speeds.
Yeah.
In the school zone. So
Yeah.
that concerns me.
So you guys are doing a good job, very good job.
I have one more.
Yes.
Well, I just wanted to mention that tomorrow from 5 to 7 at the library here in Highlands Falls will be the third iteration of English as a second language, which I started a few weeks ago. Now, that's important because of a few reasons. So we know we have a growing population of Latinos in the community, and so we want to reach out. But what I found today in talking to some of the residents is that even in the schools, there were children who could not speak English, and then some other children who were bilingual, or at least one was asked to translate. And so this was something I was not aware of until today. I heard about this circumstance in Cornwall, but again, it's just, I want everybody to know that we have a diverse community here, and we as a town recognize that, and we reach out to all people who live here.
Thank you, sir. I went out to Goshen to the district attorney's office, along with the other mayors and supervisors of the county, to talk over the bail law changes. And there's a lot of changes, and it's one of these unfunded mandates that they send down from Albany. The big question was, how did they ever pass this in Albany? They stuck it onto the budget bill. They passed the budget, and so with the budget, we got this. An estimate, it's going to cost us about 5% of our budget. That's just an estimate. I don't know where the 5% is put or taken from, but I'm sure the police department, such as in situations where a defendant can be held on bail, the law may require bail hearings, which may require the testimony of witnesses, including police officers. Those hearings have to be conducted by an assistant district attorney. They're not doing them here, they're doing them out in Goshen. So that's some of the 5% that they're talking about. Bail is basically out the window for minor offenses. Even if you rob someone down the street, just a gentle robbery, no beating up, just took his cell phone and ran down the street. You got caught, you come up here, the judge will send you right out the door again. He'll set a hearing, but he'll send you right out the door. So you go out the door and you grab another cell phone, and you go and get caught again, and you're back up here, and it's the same thing. He can't put a bail on you. That's kind of the way it works, but there's a whole bunch of things that are not really in my department, other than that it's going to cost 5% and what have you. One of the tough things is when they do have a case. I know we don't have the cameras on, you don't carry the cameras on your chest and what have you, but in places that do, if they make an arrest, that film has got to be seen. And if there happens to be a camera up on the telephone pole like the village has, Those films got to be sent. There's so much stuff that's got to be put together just for a simple case.
I'm more concerned about the discovery costs than the bail costs.
Exactly.
Because that's going to be real work for us, downloading information, IT, the cameras around the building. Beneficial thing is, major cases, we usually turn it over to the state police, but we have to start somewhere. So just the basic stuff that the officers do, from everything they transmit electronically, it's going to be a little bit of a cost factor. We're very fortunate that we upgraded our computers and we have the scanners now, so we can get our paperwork out to Dave's office in a timely manner. Dave Hoover's office has been great to us, helping us out, sending us on the correct way. So we're not super busy with major crime, but even basic stuff is going to be an issue for this stuff. We'll work through it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the timely manner is like 7 days.
15 days.
15 days, is it?
Yes, so we have to gather our information, electronically transfer it. The good thing is it's all time and date stamped, so then defense will know that they have received it at their time. So they're doing a very good job out there. Bigger, busier places, it's going to be a very good time.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, that was that meeting. I don't have an, well, Justin, maybe when we get to it on the agenda, we're going to talk about our wonderful sewer plant, but we'll wait till it's on the agenda.
Okay.
We'll get to that. We put in a grant for, to finish up the loop, which would be going up Canterbury to the connection by Corbin Hill and then down. And that would give us one great big loop. The only thing is, we need about $400,000. I told the EFC that we have 90,000 of that. So if we get the grant, I got to figure out where we're going to get the $90,000 from. But it'd be nice if we could finish that loop, and that'll make a complete circle around instead of just stopping up.
It's
like
beneficial for the health of the entire system,
Yeah.
you know, when you can loop it.
And I should have gave this to you, Ty, but the Senior Dining Program Volunteer Recognition and Luncheon, volunteers are always needed. Thursday, September the 26th, rain or shine, at Thomas Bull Memorial Park in the day camp area. And you have to RSVP if anybody, I'll give that to you if anybody wants to go. I'll just repeat what's been said. The salute to first responders done by Assemblyman Colin Schmidt was done very professionally and very nice and very well attended. And all the police, firemen in uniforms and what have you. And most of the people that were honored with like 30 years of service and stuff like that. It was amazing. I have a letter from Lankin Tully, our engineering firm, that they applied for a MS4 waiver. Hopefully, if we get that waiver, we don't have to fool around with that. The report that has to go in yearly and then cost us anywhere from, how much, Kelly? 4,000 to 12,000 or something like that?
Yeah.
So if we can get a waiver on that, that'd be really nice. Okay, it's at the time of the year for our assessor to be reappointed. Jean Tallman's been our assessor for quite a while. She's requesting to be reappointed as of September the 30th. That's when her term ends. She's been working for the town since 1994 and enjoys her work. I have a letter with all her experience in classrooms and credits and what have you, which she has to complete 12 credits yearly, which she does. So she's fully qualified, in my opinion, doing a great job. So I'll ask for a motion to reappoint Jean Tallman as the sole assessor of the town of Highlands.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried, thank you. Chief, you have somebody for a crossing guard. So we have a Mr. Michael Gonzalez looking for the appointment, part-time crossing guard. His background was completed, and he'll be completing all the necessary paperwork with Kelly. He probably has already, huh?
He has.
Okay, good. So I ask for a motion to appoint Mr. Michael Gonzalez as a part-time crossing guard in the Fort Montgomery area. It will be according to the payroll schedule.
I'll make a motion to appoint Michael Gonzalez to the position of school crossing guard, effective date 9/23/2019, with a maximum probation and a starting salary of $11.67 an hour.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I don't think anyone's second.
Somebody second.
I didn't hear him.
June made the motion, I didn't hear a second.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Gave
Who
a
wants a
second.
second? Richard did.
I gave a
Okay.
second.
Okay,
Oh, sorry,
all right, see?
it's the air conditioning.
I have a letter from the Highway Department. As per the collective bargaining contract, I respectfully request to attend the Morris State College to obtain my Class D water license on the dates of October 22nd and 23rd. Thank you for your consideration. That's from Ryan Falk. Do I have a motion to
What was
Motion.
the class? The class of the water license?
water license, for Class D water license?
D? Okay.
D is for the distribution, yeah.
Yeah, I make the motion.
Seconded by? Richard? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Okay, so everyone, even though I'm losing my voice, I'm going to read it anyway. This is the document that I'm asking permission to sign. The New York Power Authority is excited to support the town of Highlands in identifying and implementing a comprehensive street lighting upgrade. Improving the existing lights is a widely used and effective strategy to achieve the goal of reducing energy consumption, lowering utility costs, and improving light quality throughout the community. Consistent with the Master Cost Recovery Agreement, this provides a turnkey solution to upgrade the town of Highlands' existing streetlights to energy-efficient LED technology. New York Power Authority is pleased to offer these services to replace approximately 167 existing streetlight fixtures with new high-efficient LED technology. By signing below, the town of Highlands authorizes the NYPA to proceed. Would you read this paragraph? Yeah, I'm losing my voice here.
By signing below, the town of Highlands authorized NYPA to proceed with the full turnkey solution of the LED street lighting project, which includes the final design report, conducting bids for materials and installation labor, providing construction management, and commissioning the final project. When the design and bidding is completed, you will receive an initial customer installation commitment for your review and signature. At this point, if you choose to proceed to project implementation, all development costs will be rolled into the overall project. Conversely, should you decide not to proceed with the implementation of the project, the town of Highlands agrees to reimburse NYPA for all costs incurred up to the termination date for the development, design, and bidding of the project. The cost of developing the design and for bidding the materials and labor will be determined during the next phase. NYPA will be fully transparent through this process and provide complete documentation as to how it determined all project costs. By signing below, affirm that you agree to these conditions. So,
Thank you.
I gotta pat myself on the back. I was told a few days ago by the VA that I have to wear glasses and I don't have them yet, and I pulled that off.
Is there any question by the board on this particular document? Then I'll ask for a motion
Motion.
to allow me to sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carry. Okay. Leslie, I'm going to sign this, and should Ms. Copalt want a copy of it, I think she's already foiled it, so we just give her the copy.
And anybody that has missed, if they go to our website and go on to the April 8th meeting on YouTube, there's a 31-minute, very thorough presentation. They can see for themselves what this is all about.
Okay, as we spoke about here, and we've heard from everyone out there, I have a resolution to set a public hearing for the new, let's see, what a resolution to introduce and schedule a public hearing to receive public comments concerning the enactment of a local law adding a new chapter 132 entitled Noise Control to the Code of the Town of Highlands. The town board shall hold a public hearing for the matter of the adoption of the aforesaid local law to be held at the Town Hall, 254 Main Street, New York, on the 14th day of October 2019 at 7 p.m. And the notice would be given, put in the paper and publication and publicized.
Can I just mention
Yes.
that October 14th is a holiday? We are scheduled for a budget meeting that Monday at 6 p.m. But that Monday, the 14th, is a holiday.
Okay.
We're still having a budget meeting though, so I don't know if that,
It's not a holiday for everybody.
right.
Was it
So
Wednesday?
I
For
just wanted to mention the time.
No, that's fine. For
because the budget meeting
participation, it may
starts
even
at
be
6.
better than for
Pardon
people
me?
for the people that are concerned in participation, it might be better unless someone's going away for the weekend or something.
I just don't know what you want to do about the time. Do you want to do the,
Budget meeting first.
Are you asking whether you want the public hearing at 6, or if you're,
yes.
if you want to do it first thing when you open your meeting?
Yeah.
Me-
well,
The
that-
meeting is at 6.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, we could do it, if either that or postpone until the following meeting, but we might as well just address it.
Yeah. So the meeting's at 6, so the public hearing, we can just change this to make it,
Strike
make
the
it
7
6.
and make it a 6. And
Okay.
Leslie, you have to remember that your notice of public hearing for the newspaper for Mary Jane says 7, so if,
Make it 6.
make it 6.
Okay, all those, let's see, I need a,
I'll make a
Motion.
motion that we schedule the public hearing for the noise control.
and do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please. Leslie?
Sorry.
Roll call.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember Gonza?
Aye.
Councilmember Perry?
Aye.
Supervisor Lissi?
Aye. Leslie made the motion, second the motion. June made the motion, Richard seconded.
Seconded.
Yeah, just so you got it on there.
Okay.
Justin, please tell us what's going on down at our sewer plant. If you have anything, I mean.
Sure. I had on the large project, the storm mitigation loan program project, which is back before the state controller's office. I had a discussion on Thursday with the attorney Sean McDermott in the state controller's office. They are moving it along. They have paperwork that they require. It was approximately 8 items. He read them to me while I was on my phone driving. And he indicated that the letter would be to town hall this week. They sounded rather pro forma and routinized, right? Some certified copies of resolutions of board action. That was done subject to referendum. We've got to give them a notice that there was no referendum. There were 6, 7, or 8 requests. again, all fairly routine, but that they won't act until the paperwork is provided. He thought we'd get the correspondence this week, so if it comes to you, please let me know. If it comes to me, I'll do the same. So that would ultimately allow us, ideally, to get approval of the state controller, where we could then schedule a bond resolution amendment through Hawkins-Delfield. Once that's approved, then, well, that's really it. EFC is already approved. So it'd be those two steps. Ideally, they happen in the next 30 days or so, and then you could go back out to bid. Then you could
Accept the bids.
accept the bids.
Okay.
Right, which I've right now currently on extension until November 1st. That timing should work. If we need to ask the bidders for a couple weeks at that point, I think they would. I think you're probably more anxious to get in the ground than they are, but that's the large-scale project. With respect to dechlorination, would you like me to speak about dechlorination as well?
Yes.
Right. So we were in a similar situation where bids came back more expensive than anticipated. Haven't made any your board hasn't made any final determinations as to what to do. The bidder on that contract again indicated that they would hold their bid price open maybe to the same date. I've now forgotten the precise date. I think it was similar, on or about November 1st. It's this same contractor, by the way, that has bid on the large project. And you were also looking at other possibilities to potentially maybe find a different solution rather than the approximate $300,000 to $350,000 cost right now for dechlorination.
Right now, we gave the project, not gave it to them, we gave it to Lankin Tully for review and to see what they have to say. I haven't heard back from them. This Jordan group, I don't know, I'm not hearing anything from them. I don't like that, so I'm just going to probably let that go.
Well, right, but I mean, you're exploring your other options
No,
to see if
absolutely.
there's a more cost-effective means of doing the project. Again, just as a reminder, you don't have an option ultimately, right? This came about from the DEC requiring you to fix the dechlorination levels at the plant. So you have to have a solution. The current solution is what is approved by the DEC, so if we do change paths, we'll have to go back to them as well. But assuming it can reduce the chlorination levels, I don't think that's the big hurdle. It's whether there is a more cost-effective solution.
And I think it's worth mentioning that, and I'm complimenting the board when I say this, is we do have enough money to cover the cost. But that's not the only thing to be of concern with. I have enough money to cover the cost, but I'm trying to bring the cost down.
Correct.
So I think that's important for everyone to know. And I didn't know until Kelly told me we had enough money. Okay, I have a note from our building inspector. We have canvassed the Orange County Civil Service, and Phil Hannawalt is the only candidate on what they call the residence list. I recommend that Phil be hired to work full-time at the annual rate of $48,000 a year, maximum probation. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. I have a, which I'll read, a letter of resignation from the Ambulance Corps to the Ambulance District Commissioners. It is with deep regret that I must inform you of my decision to resign my position as captain, and also to let you know that I am retiring from the Town of Highlands Ambulance Corps effective October the 1st. I've been with the Corps for 20 years, and I feel it's time for me to step down. It's been a pleasure to work with a dedicated group of volunteers, and it's also been a privilege to serve the people of the Town of Highlands. So that's from the captain and member of the Town of Highlands Ambulance Corps, Do I have a motion to accept the resignation?
I make the motion to accept the resignation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. I have one other resignation from a member of the ambulance corps. I'm going to recommend that we don't accept this resignation until I've gotten a chance, Ty and I have gotten a chance to speak with this gentleman to see what prompted his resignation. Is that okay if we table it?
Yes.
Motion to table?
I make a
Well,
motion to table it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess table it. I mean,
Yeah.
until he decides whether he truly wants to resign or not.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't had the opportunity to talk with him, so that's what we want to do.
Okay, Kurt Hahn is going to be paid. Joan, you want to take that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we hire Kurt Hahn as a consultant for our emergency management / disaster preparedness with a stipend of $1,500 based upon the deliverables that he gave to the town board when we met with him.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. That's all I have. Is there any other business?
Just in regard to Marty, I mean, we meet, I think I put on social media, this is my 637th meeting. I've actually kept track between the school board and the fire commissioners and all that. The meeting is at 7. The emergency services, I can't shine their shoes. The time they put in, the training they put in. I would just to thank Marty for all the years of effort that she put in for the Town of Highlands Ambulance Corps.
Yeah, definitely, what you call, not anxious to make that motion, because certainly she has been a selfless servant. So I echo what my colleague has said, and we just want to wish her well as she goes on to the next chapter of her life.
In December, they usually have a installation of officers, and I'm sure that there'll be something done special for Marty at that installation, Jeff. So we'll get a chance to do it publicly at the installation of officers.
So now that, and God bless her for all of the time that she spent and all of the caring that she gave to the town of Highlands residents, but now that she has departed that position, the ambulance corps will have an election to fill that soon. And then that name will be submitted to the town board for approval.
That's correct.
And as long as I'm looking at you, Jeff, how are you making out with your junior ambulance corps member program?
That's going to be brought before the membership this month, October. the
Okay.
first meeting. There will be the reading of the bylaws, and that's inclusive in it, and we'll vote on it and go forward. And I'll send a copy to Bob like he is.
Very good.
And Jeff, while we got you here, I'd appreciate it if you could broker a meeting between your officers and myself and Councilman King in the very near future, whatever day and time is convenient to your officers.
No problem.
We'd just like to sit down and talk. Okay? So that'll save you a trip. So whenever you got it together, let Ty know, and let me know, and we'll get together and sit down. Public comment again. Anybody?
Hi, Olga Anderson, speaking on behalf of the Environmental Advisory Committee. We did have a very successful electric vehicle car show at the farmers market a week ago Sunday. So that was like the first time we've had such an event here in town, and there was a great deal of interest. So it really is part of our whole mandate for going green and going electric. So, and as was said, we had 2 speakers come to our committee meeting on the 13th to talk about a program called Heat Smart, and another program called Community Choice Aggregation. They both are involved with energy savings. Heat Smart proposes to bring heat pump, air pump, geothermal type of technology to homeowners to implement. They do free energy assessments, and from there they can make proposals to the homeowner. Community choice aggregation is a little more complex. It involves the municipality making a buying decision on behalf of all the residents to source the power that comes in through the utility. So we really wanted to inform ourselves a little bit more about both programs, and we still have homework to do on those, and quite frankly, not ready to tackle any of that, but when the time comes, we will definitely present both those solutions to the board. They do require board approval to go forward. So right now, I'm kind of waiting to hear about the grant application that we submitted. So once we know that, we will have really a game plan for the rest of for probably, a year. So depending on how that grant thing goes, then we can formulate other additional plans.
Thank you, Olga, for all you do.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Public comment? Yay, nay? Town board, anything?
No, just one thing. Thank you, Olga, for your work. I see a lot of debate about global warming and whatnot. Last time I checked, British Petroleum says there's 53 years of crude left. ExxonMobil says there's 60. Think about that for your grandchildren.
I just want to thank the residents for coming out to these meetings, because it's always good to hear from the community. And for those at home, thank you for tuning in.
Ask for a motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.